Hi, my name is Mr. Cordes, and this is the Quarter 3 District Writing lecture video. Our goal for this video, ladies and gentlemen, is to go over and review all of the components, all of the requirements for the district writing, because I purposefully want to offer this as an extra credit assignment for your English grade. So before we begin, let me preface by saying the district desires to see growth in their students. They want to see how you're writing during the first quarter and then on the third quarter to see what you have learned, what you've applied, what skills you've acquired. They want to see growth, okay? And usually that will happen in some form of writing. Now, you guys as ninth graders have done this in seventh grade, in eighth grade. And so this is not a new concept. Just like we did for the first semester, I want to offer this as extra credit for you based upon the score that you receive. So this assignment does not negatively affect your grade. You could write 2, 3, 4 sentences that are horrible, still achieve like maybe a 1 and get extra credit points based upon that. What I want to do is offer that as an incentive for you to do your best to apply what you have learned this year. We've written so many literary analysis writings. We've done so many just like discussions about literature and analyzing what's going on in those stories according to theme and character. Now we have to kind of show what we've learned, okay? So with that being said, you have this document in front of you. You will be writing on this document at the very bottom. Our goal for the video is to go over the prompt, to kind of make an outline and to kind of help you understand what your thesis is. So I would strongly suggest that you have this document up in front of you, and we are going to go through. I'm going to explain everything, offer you an outline, offer you all those details. You will have class time and then the following independent time in the morning to work on this. And then it's going to be due at the end of the period the following day. So, again, do your best. This is going to be extra credit towards your English grade. The score that you receive, because it's going to be graded by other English 9 teachers, will go on your computer file. So when a teacher goes to look at your overall test scores, your transcripts grades, they will notice, okay, Quarter 3 of their ninth grade year, they received this mark. So it's kind of just helps us keep track and make sure that we are doing our best in teaching you guys what's essential and what you guys need to know. Okay. So here we go. Enough prelude. Here we go. You have first this box up here in which you guys are going to fill out. For school, you guys can put down virtual. It doesn't really matter what your home school is. Just put down virtual. Also put down my last name as well. Fill out all of these components. When you're done with the writing, I'll download your documents, send them off to other English teachers to grade, and then I get them back. So I will take care of that. But I do need your name on this, my name as well. Virtual school will suffice. And then obviously the period. Okay, so here are the directions. You're going to write a 1 to 2 page response that answers the prompt that's in blue. We're going to go over that and discuss it. Ensure your writing includes the following. Respond to all parts of the prompt. Include a clear thesis statement. Remember, a thesis statement is the point you're trying to prove. Evidence from 2 to 3 selections that you have read to support your thesis. Multiple paragraphs, thoughtful analysis. Thoughts are clearly organized and demonstrates command of the English language. So even though that's a lot, you guys have actually been doing that all semester long. You guys have been having a thesis statement and proving your points. You've been bringing in textual evidence and your commentary and your analysis to support that. So you guys have practiced this multiple times, okay? The only thing that was different for us would probably be the narrative writing, which was more of a storytelling activity and writing assignment than literary analysis. So think back to when we did The Most Dangerous Game, The Necklace, Scarlet Ibis, even of Mice and Men, way back when. All of those were literary analysis type writings. Okay, so let's take a look at the prompt. It says, using 2 to 3 selections you have studied, write an essay that answers the question, how do authors reveal what it means to be human? Now, that is a kind of an abstract question. What does it mean to be human? We have arms, legs, we can talk, we walk, we have jobs, we go to school. Those are things that make us human. We're going to steer just a little bit off, and I want to help guide you through and make sure that makes sense. Okay, so this is our prompt. Here's what I'm going to do. I'm actually going to, let's say, copy this over. I'm going to come down here because when we start to talk, I want to break this apart for you. But here's what I do want you to look at right now. This is the rubric. This is the grading rubric in which teachers will use to grade this response. Once again, I'm not grading this. Other 9th grade English teachers will grade this. And they don't know who you are. They haven't seen your writing all semester. They take into account what you just wrote, and they go according to these scores. It would be fantastic if you got in the 6, 5, or 4 range. This right here means that you were on track, you answered things in the prompt, you took your time to proofread, you made sure that things were in the right spot, that sentences made sense, that things were coherent. A 3, a 2, or a 1 means you didn't understand the prompt, you didn't take the time to do the research or to think about what you have learned. A 3, 2, or 1 might also indicate that you haven't had enough practice with the writing from the previous assignment. But it also just means that you weren't really hitting the mark. How do I say this? You fall short. It doesn't mean that you failed or that you did it wrong. It just means that you were right there, but you didn't quite get it. If you began to talk about what it means to be human and how we're different from animals or some sort of tangent thing, you'd probably end up with a 1 or a 2. A limited response, that means like you hit the mark, you were talking about it, but you didn't make the full connections. Remember, there's a lot of things that they are looking for. Really, we just want you to be able to articulate and express what you're analyzing, what you are pulling apart. Okay, you want to be coherent with what you're talking about. So for this, our goal is to get a 6, 5, or 4. Now, regardless, I'm going to offer extra credit, and I think I'm going to offer you at least 4 points per score. So if let's say that you get a 3, you struggled, you put some stuff together, it wasn't really that great, but you got a 3. I'm going to take 3 times 4, that's 12. I'm going to give you 12 extra credit points. Let's say you have no clue what's going on and you give me a crap, horrible paragraph and you get a 1, you still get 4 extra credit points. Okay, 4 is better than 0, so I'll leave you with that. Let's say that you get a 5. You work really hard. You have your parents or your brothers or sisters or whoever's living in your house take a look at your response, and they help you fix and change and modify things and say, hey, fix this sentence. This doesn't make sense. You get a 5. 5 times 4 is 20. 20 extra credit points goes a long way in your grade. Okay, so please take the time to do that. So let's look here. Let's look at our prompt. It says, using 2 to 3 selections that you have studied, write an essay that answers the question, how do authors reveal what it means to be human? So let's talk and break this down first. Today, we're just going to jot down some notes, and I'm going to pull this apart so we can formulate our writing. Okay. First thing, let's talk about the selections. The selections mean the pieces of literature you've studied. Okay. So for us, we've looked at Of Mice and Men. Okay. We did, let me actually bring this up. Give me 30 seconds, ladies and gentlemen. Normal text, nope, line spacing, single. I kind of want to keep these together. Of Mice and Men, we talked about, we had The Necklace with Mademoiselle. We looked at the Scarlet Ibis with Doodle and his brother. We also looked at, maybe I'll make this bigger so you guys can see. Okay. We looked at, what was the other story that we did? Oh, The Most Dangerous Game. Okay. Then we also had Odysseus and the Odyssey. Okay. Nope. Yep. Odyssey. Those are the primary stories that we have done. I would not include your hero project and the hero that you selected, simply because that's kind of a different tangent than what the prompt is asking. So the prompt is asking, how do authors reveal what it means to be human? So let's look at this first. These are all of the selections. These are the pieces of literature that we have studied thus far. Now, what does it mean to be human? Okay. What does it mean to be human? How are we human, and how does that make us different than everyone else? So if you think about it, they are not asking for the literal. Literal would be, oh, I have a job, I stand up, I've got arms and legs, I can talk. Like, we're human because we're human. I had a student write that one year. Like, what does it mean to be human? Human means that we're human. And Curly's wife is Curly's wife. Like, we have to elaborate and explain. So items about humans, things that we have that are different than animals, than objects, than whatever. First and foremost, feelings. Okay. We're able to process our feelings. Feelings, you could also use the word emotions. Those things make us act differently. They make us respond differently. They make us have decisions, relationships, all of those things. So if we looked at The Most Dangerous Game, you had two individuals, especially Ransford, who was motivated primarily by his feelings or emotions of, this guy is crazy and I need to get out of here. And he moves from reason to instinct. He uses more of his emotions than anything to survive. So that is what makes him human, are his feelings and his gut reaction, right? The other things that you have are your thoughts, right? Your ideas. These right here help us to calculate, make decisions. Maybe I'll put that down as an option, like humans make decisions. It was Odysseus who sat there and made decisions about how he was going to get out of the cave and how he was going to save his men. Of course, his thoughts and emotions made him suddenly become super arrogant, and he yelled out at the very end at Polyphemus his real name, and which did not go over well. So already, what does it mean to be human? It means that we have feelings and emotions. It means that we make decisions based upon what we believe is best for us. We have our thoughts and ideas that kind of help us calculate and think, what do we need to do or what do we not need to do? So these are some of these components is what makes us human, right? You also may want to look at this as far as what makes us human is the relationship component. Now, this is not like boyfriend-girlfriend relationship. This is the relationship that you have just in life as yourself. So what that means is your relationship with your family or your lack of relationship with your family. This could be the interactions that you have with some of your friends. Is it a real life interaction, or is it just simply we text each other what the homework is? Like, your relationship that you have is very purposeful, and it helps you identify you as a person. So the other part about us being humans is our identity. Not identify, identity. There we go. So let's take a look at the Scarlet Ibis. The relationship between Doodle and his brother was very specific because they both interacted with each other. They both depended upon each other. The older brother was actually kind of very manipulative, right? He had his own thoughts and feelings and was very prideful. And yet Doodle just wanted the affirmation from his older brother. So it was kind of like this, even though it was a good relationship, it was also a bad relationship because they fed, there we go. Sorry about that. They fed off of each other's unhealthy desires and what they really needed. He wanted to be recognized as the older brother and have a regular brother, not someone who was disabled. He just wanted to be loved, and so he would do whatever it took to please his brother. So it was a very almost, I don't say toxic. That's a strong word, but that right there is the relationship that they had. Let's look at Odysseus. Odysseus, in his relationship with his men, was that he was in charge and everyone else. So his identity became this: whatever I do is going to be right. Almost an arrogant type of warrior ego thing, where he just sits and he's like, yeah, this is it, and this is what I've got, and I'm going to make these decisions, and here's what's best for us. And that's probably why in the very end, the guys were yelling out, like, stop talking, stop saying your name. We need to get out of here. So you look at what the relationship is, and that helps form the identity. So for the Scarlet Ibis, the older brother, and Doodle's relationship, their identity became wrapped up in who the other one was, right? Who the other one was meant to be or could be. So what does it mean to be human? We look at our thoughts and feelings. We look at our how we make decisions. We look at the relationship and what that means for our own identity. So for me, like, let's say for me as a dad, okay, my relationship is to take care of my kids, to provide for them, to love them. Like that's the relationship that we have. And therefore my identity is in, my decisions are made on what's going to be best for the family. How can I love and serve them better? What are some good boundaries? What's healthy for them? What's the best options? Like, that's my relationship that I have with my kids. And then therefore that becomes part of my identity, is to help and make sure not my students, they're my kids, are on the right track. Are they doing their best? So for us, when we look at this question, what does it mean to be human? All of these components, this is what it means to be human. We have thoughts, we have feelings, we make decisions, we have relationships, we have our own identity. Now, here is the tricky part, because the question says, how do authors reveal what it means to be human? So the next part of this is, how do authors reveal, okay, what it means to be human? Okay, that's the bigger question. How do they do that? Obviously, they do that through characters. Okay, if we didn't have Scarlet Ibis, the Scarlet Ibis story with Doodle and the older brother, it would just been a story about birds. If we didn't have Mademoiselle and her husband, it would just been a story about jewelry. The characters offer a relationship to how they interact. So when you look at the characters, you need to see how do they interact and why do they interact that way? Why does the older brother for the Scarlet Ibis interact in such that way? Why does General Zaroff act the way he does in regards to Ransford compared to the other people that he traps on his island? Why is it that Ransford's response to hunting changes as he becomes the huntee? Okay. So we look at the characters and we looked at how they interact and why. The other thing that we look at is the detail and description from the authors, okay, or our writers. Those are the same thing. So like John Steinbeck, Guy de Maupassant, Richard Connell, James Hurst, Homer, all of our authors are our writers. They're the same thing. Offer detail and description in how those characters respond. Also, detail and description from the authors about the characters' thoughts and feelings. So it's not just that the older brother from the Scarlet Ibis makes Doodle do all of these things. There's also moments where they describe how he is feeling. There's the part there. There's the actual sentence that says, "It was within me a knot of cruelty, born by the stream of love," and that talks about his feelings. Okay. There's parts in the Odyssey where it talks about how Odysseus begins to think of a plan and what he needs to process, and our author gives detail and description into that. Okay. These are some of the ways in which authors reveal what it means to be human. So they do it through characters. They do it through the relationship of those characters. They also do it through detail and description, almost like the inner monologue. Maybe I'll write that down. Because that helps us as well. So now this is a lot. Okay, let me move myself over here. This is a lot. You've got all these pieces of literature. You've got what does it mean to be human, all of these components. And then you've got the authors and how they piece it together. So let's break this up. I want you guys on your document, start with this. The point I'm trying to prove is, okay, and we need to reiterate the prompt. The point I'm trying to prove is authors reveal what it means to be human. Authors reveal what it means to be human through, and I want you to pick two of these components because those will be the two things that you are talking about. So the point I'm trying to prove is authors reveal what it means to be human through feelings and thoughts. Authors reveal what it means to be human through making decisions and relationships. And those will be the things that you will talk about. Authors reveal what it means to be human through character identity and emotions. Character, or through character relationships and through character identity. You take a moment and identify how and fill in those two blanks and write that sentence. I'm going to give you 30 seconds for that, and you can pause the video if you need to. But now that you've picked those two, those are the two that you're going to talk about. Okay? What I'd like you to do now is to identify, you have to have at least 2 to 3 selections. Please select 2 to 3 of these selections and mark them down because those can be your body paragraphs. So you'll have your introduction, okay, where you explain what it means to be human. You're going to offer your thesis statement, and you're also, let me go back over here, because before you offer your thesis statement, you're going to identify and list the pieces of literature. I'm in the way again. Can't believe that. Okay. So your introduction paragraph, let me write that again. Introduction paragraph, you explain what it means to be human. You identify and list the pieces of literature and offer your thesis statement. That's what you're going to do in the beginning. Then you'll have body paragraph 1, you'll have body paragraph 2, and you'll have body paragraph 3. And each one of these is a piece of literature. Okay, let me see if I can make this bigger for you guys. Actually, let me go down here. So right now, we are outlining. Okay, so let's get this all straight for you guys. So this is your thesis. The point I'm trying to prove is, and I know I'm going fast, so if you need to slow down or pause, please do so. Your thesis statement, the point I'm trying to prove is authors reveal what it means to be human through, and you picked your components from up here, okay, the ones that you're going to talk about. You're going to have your 3 selections. So body paragraph number 1 is story, I don't know, X, whatever that is, of mice and men, okay? Body paragraph 2, you really love The Most Dangerous Game. And then you're like, oh, we just did the Odyssey, so I'm going to pick that one. Okay. So you've kind of selected your stories. I want you to kind of mark them down here. And what you're going to do then is for each one of those stories, you need to explain how the author is using these 2 components that you put in your thesis statement. So if you pick relationships, what is the relationship like for each one of those? If you pick feelings and emotions, what are the feelings and emotions of our characters, and what does that mean to be human? Okay. If you can, and you can go back through the Google Classroom and find your documents or go to your drive, you'd be able to pull pieces of textual evidence from all of that. I would actually begin to outline, you have your outline here. What I would strongly recommend is at this point, go to each one of your documents and pull a quote that you need for that specific one. As an example, if you're working with Odysseus and he has, and you're talking about his thoughts and ideas, you would need to pull a quote that showcases his thoughts and ideas. If you are talking about relationships and that helps form an identity, and you're using the Scarlet Ibis, go to the Scarlet Ibis document, pull out a quote that talks about the brothers' relationship and what that means for their identity. Okay, you are pulling this information. You're using this class time. You're also using your independent time, and then you'll turn it in after that. Okay, so at this moment in time, you have your outline. All right. Do not solely worry about a conclusion paragraph. These writers understand that this is a timed writing, and so get your thesis statement, get your introduction, make sure that's solid, and make sure that you are answering the prompt in each of these, okay, depending upon what you selected. So if you selected certain things, then that's what you need to talk about. If you selected thoughts and ideas and making decisions, you need to identify how that is for the stories that you selected, okay? If you look here at the very front, it says respond to all parts of the prompt. So you've got your selection, how does the author reveal it, and what does that mean for us to be human, okay? You have to make sure that there's a clear thesis statement. Use evidence, okay? Those are pieces of textual evidence, concrete detail, multiple paragraphs, okay? And thoughtful analysis. What does this mean? If you go in and you just start retelling the story and you start telling me how Mademoiselle is just selfish, that doesn't tell me anything unless you connect it to what that means to be human, okay? So at this moment in time, I've talked a lot. It's almost been 30 minutes now. And you guys have a quality outline. So here's the steps that I would take, okay? 1, select your literature. What 3 stories are you going to use? I would find quotes based on let's call them human element, right? Thoughts, feelings, relationships, whatever. You need to find those quotes, all right? Insert those quotes into your body paragraphs, okay? Then here's if you remember, I want you to get your, right after those quotes, create your commentary, okay? This shows that. What does that quote show us about being human? Ooh, let me write that down. That was good. What does this quote tell or show about being human? Okay, and that's kind of what you're answering. That's kind of what you're responding. Use these items as your starting point. These are the things that will help you process and get through. Okay. These are some other things. How does the author reveal these components about being human? Characters, detail and description, their inner monologue. Even in Of Mice and Men, chapter 1, when there's not a lot of dialogue, and it's just kind of the 2 gentlemen down by the creek. They're talking about their hopes and dreams. That reveals a lot about what it means to be human. Okay. Maybe that's another one. What does it mean to be human? We always there's some sort of like hope or dreams or desires, right? We see that in a lot of our stories. The Mademoiselle from The Necklace, she had a hope or dream of being part of the upper class. George and Lenny had a dream of owning their own farm. The Doodle from the Scarlet Ibis, he had a dream, a hope that he would someday be normal and be accepted, right? Ransford, he had a dream of getting off that island, that's for sure. Odysseus, he had the dream of actually getting home, and he had to travel for so far. And so his hope was that he would make it home safely. So maybe that's part of it. Maybe you want to take a moment and pause and reevaluate and go for hopes and dreams. Okay. Those are all of the components. I need to stop talking and let you guys begin your work. Please message me if you have any questions or concerns. But at this point, you have quality items that will help you get started on your writing, piece it all together, showcase what you have learned over the course of this year. All right. I'll talk to you guys later. Good job. Bye.